We will be doing what is called linear programming. And what I like about this is actually real world. Every business does it. You have to be able to figure out what your maximum profit is. You have to figure out what your minimum cost is. Every business actually does this. So this is kind of one of my favorites because it's really a real world kind of thing. All right, so let's talk about this. I've got a business, I have some space, and I'm going to build desks. And my space says that I can have between 1 and 5, and let's call this people. Based on the space I have, I can put in this little shop between 1 and 5 people. And so my people is going to be down here. Come on. This is people down here. So somewhere between 1 and 5 is the number of people that I can hire because of the space. All right? Now, I've already talked to a guy about a contract, and he says if you can give him between 2 and 8 desks a week, he would sign a contract with you. So this is going to be D, and he said if you could get me between 2 and 8 desks every week, he would sign a contract with me. So now what we have done is designed a program based on constraints. All right? Constraints are what your limits are. There are certain things that you can't, I can't put 45 people in a little bitty warehouse. I also don't need a whole warehouse and to put 2 people in. So constraints are the things that limit you. And in this problem, I am limited between 1 and 5 people because that's all the space I have to build these desks. But to get the contract, I have to guarantee between 2 and 8 desks a week. All right, so where did we color? Well, let's analyze where did we color twice. We colored twice at all of these places. So we colored twice, and let's kind of reestablish. We colored twice at all of these places, didn't we? Now, this is what is called your feasible region. This is called feasible region. What does feasible means? It's feasible for me to buy a Coke. It is not feasible for me to buy a car. Feasible means this is where you make your money. This is where all those constraints come together, and that's where you make your money. So this is called the feasible region. And the most important parts of the feasible region are these vertices. Each vertex is very important because these vertex will tell you what your maximum and what your minimums are. And that's the whole process, is finding your max and your mins. Because I don't know about you, but don't you want to make the maximum profit? Don't you want to have minimum cost? So we have to look at our feasible region. We can hire 1 to 5 people, and we have to make 2 to 5 desks, 2 to 8 desks. All right, so this is our feasible region. So let's take these vertices and use them. Well, this vertex is 1, there we go, 1, 8. And this one is 5, 8. This one is 5, 2. And this one is 1, 2. So there are my corners. There are my vertices. Those are the places I know I will have my max and mins. So what do we do with those? Well, another thing that we have to have is what's called an objective function. All right, what is your objective if you own a business? Make money, right? So your objective function is usually about the money situation or how it is that you're going to make money. So what he realized in his little business that he's putting together, that he was going to make $50 in profit for these desks, but he was going to have to pay $25 per person to make them. So he was going to get $50 in profit for each desk, but he was also going to have to pay $25 per person to make the desk. So that means his objective, which is, of course, profit, is 50 times a desk minus $25 for each person that has worked on the desk. So the objective function is 50D minus 25P. So now we're going to take our objective function. Let's write it up here. Our profit is going to be 50D minus 25P. And now we're going to figure out which one of these corners offers me the best deal. And I do that by putting my corners in. So my first corner, let's just use 5, 8. That would be 50 times 8 minus 25 times 5. $50 for 8 desks minus $25 for the 5 people that are working on it. And if you do that, you get $275 in profit. All right, let's try the other corner. And I think you're probably it's going to be easy to see what your profit, what your max is and your min is, but it's surprising sometimes. So always do all 4 corners. All right, so this is going to be 50 times 8 minus 25 times 1. And now you're going to make $375 in profit. All right, the next one we're going to do is 1, 2. This one down here, 1, 2. So that's 50 times 2 minus 25 times 1. And that's going to turn out to be only $25 in profit. And now let's do this last point, 5, 2. So that's 50 times 2 minus 25 times 5. And now we're going to get negative 25. Uh-oh, we actually lost money on that deal. To make only 2 desks with 5 people, you're actually going to go in the hole. So that's definitely something I need to know, isn't it? As an owner, I need to know that I could actually go in the hole. I could actually lose money if all I did was make 2 desks and 5 people were working on it. So that's not a good deal for me. So this minimum is really important because that's how much I could lose. Now when you go to the bank and you're talking about your new business, there are 2 things they're going to ask. They're going to ask, what do you think is going to be your maximum profit if everything goes right? And you're going to have to tell him. He's also going to ask you, what if everything goes wrong? How much money do you stand to lose? So in this instance, this business could lose $25 a week. It also could make $375 a week. Or could it? Well, this is our minimum. obviously. And this one is just kind of a medium, so he's not there. Now it looks like this is our minimum, is our maximum right here, 375, but I want you to decide if it's realistic for only one person to make 8 desks in a week. So even though this is our maximum profit, it might be unrealistic because we probably can't get 8 desks if only one employee is working. Which one is the more realistic profit? The more realistic profit is 275 because I might get 8 desks if I have 5 people working. So the beauty of linear programming is coming up with that maximum profit and the minimum, which is going to be what your loss may be, or your least profit. Or if you're calculating cost, it might be that your cost, you want your cost to be minimum, don't you? So linear programming is all about real world businesses, and that's what I like about it. So here's what I need you to do in your little handout today. In your handout, I need you to highlight the vocabulary that you are going to need when we are trying to talk about linear programming. So there's a very specific vocabulary you need to go over them. We'll have a little short vocabulary quiz when you come in, but you need to understand the vocabulary, so highlight inside of your notes what the vocabulary are that you absolutely have to know to discuss linear programming.